I was entitled to express my views. I was entitled to be consulted.
Did you threaten to overrule
I
him?
was not entitled to instruct Derek Lewis, and I did not instruct him.
But did you believe in old Labour?
I believed in the values of the Labour Party, yes.
No, did you believe in what they stood for? Did you believe in CND? Did you believe in union power not being curtailed? Did you believe in nationalisation, no privatisation?
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I did not overrule Derek Lewis.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I took advice on what I could or could not do.
Did you threaten to overrule him, Mr. Howard?
Scrupulously in accordance with that advice.
So I want to make sure that children have those opportunities, that all schools are offering a good education for children.
It's not quite an answer to my question about grammar schools, though.
You're not answering the question whether you threatened to overrule him.
The important aspect of this, which it's very clear to bear in mind,
I'm sorry, I'm going to be frightfully rude, but...
Yes, you can...
I'm sorry.
There's no point analysing different words. The Prime Minister said we're not going to give a running commentary. What we're doing at the moment is we're putting together...
I'm not asking for a running commentary. I'm asking a simple, but actually rather basic question.
With respect, that is not answering the question of whether you threatened to overrule him.
And I'm joined now by Dr. Peter Bull from the University of York, who has dug into the science of Theresa May and other leading politicians dodging the question. Dr. Bull, welcome to the programme. I understand you've come up that there are 35 different techniques politicians use to avoid answering the questions. Is that right? Can you give us some examples?
Yes, I've identified at least 35 different ways of not replying to a question. Common forms include attacking the question. There are lots of ways you can attack the question. You're based on a quotation you've taken out of context. The quotation is mistaken. It's based on a false presupposition. It's a hypothetical question. There are lots of ways you can do that.
I've had all of those, particularly the hypothetical one, because almost every question people like me ask is hypothetical. You know, if you do this, will this follow? But I understand Theresa May has a whole new category of non-specific responses to specific questions. I think we saw some of that at PMQs yesterday.
We certainly did, yes. In fact, most of her non-replies to the two interviews with Andrew Marr include this giving non-specific response to a specific question. I mean, the question, for example, about would she stop the Scots having a second referendum, when asked that, she actually says, well, it's not a question of whether there would be another referendum, but there should be another referendum, which is an interesting technique. Both it doesn't answer the question that's being asked, but it rephrases the question in a way she wants to answer it.
Believe me, Dr. Bull, I know exactly what you're talking about. I live with it on a daily basis. Do you have any advice to help me?
Well, one of the interesting things from the interviewers is the extent to which they follow up evasion by the politicians. And of course, in your opening sequence, you quoted the very celebrated sequence where Jeremy Paxman poses the same question, I think 16 times. But to the extent to which you can follow up, draw attention to the evasion, and keep following it up, and I think that's how many times you actually follow up when you don't get a reply.
Dr. Bull, thanks for joining us. Fascinating stuff.